Welcome to part 4 of our live training session here with our 2011 Evo X GSR. In the last video, we sorted out all of the fuel, spark timing, and boost control on 93 octane. So 93 octane at this point has been dialed in. We're going to be firing up our engine on a cold start in this video, so I'd let the engine sit overnight. We're going to see and make sure that the cranking feels good and that the warm-up enrichment's good and that we don't need to adjust anything before we move to flex fuel, because everything we're going to do with our flex fuel control is going to be based on our 93 octane being correct and being dialed in. So we're going to confirm that in this video, and then we'll drain our fuel out. We'll put the ethanol into the fuel system, so we're going to bring up our ethanol content level, and then learn how to work with doing a flex fuel based tune and turning up our boost pressure and going through everything associated with that. Now this is going to be making a whole bunch of horsepower. This is going to be a great tutorial to be able to see what to do in tuning a high power Evo X. We're going to have a lot to cover. Let's jump into our video so we can get started. Welcome back to our live training session here at our Evo X. In our last video, we mapped out our full throttle operation, so boost, fuel, spark, variable cam or MIVEC variable cam. And we've dialed that in for 93 octane. We're now ready to move on to doing our ethanol or flex fuel tune with our Tephra V3 ROM. So I'm going to start that entire process in this video. Before we do that, I've let the vehicle sit here overnight. We're going to fire it off. We're going to evaluate if the cranking enrichment or the cranking tables are accurate for 93 octane, as well as our warm-up enrichment tables. We need to make sure those are right. It delivers the proper air fuel after it fires off, and it runs for the first few minutes until it comes up to operating temperature. Before we go and drain the 93 octane out of the tank, I'm going to do one more sweep through in our 93 octane calibration, and then make sure that everything is going to be good at full throttle. Again, one last time. Then we'll drain the gas out, then we'll move on to our ethanol or flex fuel tune. It's actually really easy. Now, the reason why I'm going to make sure the 93 octane is 100% on my calibration here is because this is the basis for the flex fuel tune, especially our fuel side of things. If we don't have our fuel delivery right, so the calibration fuel table isn't dialed in and our load calcs aren't dialed in this case we're just running speed density, so we just have to deal with our map calcs. But if this isn't handled right, when we go to flex fuel, we're gonna have some issues because we're going to be adding on top of what we've already calibrated and what we've done on 93 octane. Super important here that 93 or 91 octane, whatever the lowest octane level you're going to be at, is going to be dialed in 110%. That way, when you move to flex fuel, you'll only have a few things to adjust. It's actually going to be really simple, as you'll see here as we kind of keep going on in the calibration process. So we're going to do a cold start here. We're going to let fire up. It's been sitting overnight. It's been sitting on the chassis dyno since yesterday. So we'll see, evaluate if the cranking feels good and if the warm-up enrichment's good. Let's go and do that right now. So I'm going to go into my Evo scan software. We're going to go up here and start our data log. We can see it streaming right now. If we take a look at our coolant temperature, let's see what our coolant temp is going to be at here. If we find our coolant temp, I think it's down below in some of our parameters list here. So coolant temp is 77 degrees. Manifold air temp is showing 78. Right now it's showing about 70, 75, 78 degrees here in the dyno bay on the tower here for the dyno. So that all looks good. So we know our temperatures seem reasonable. Let's fire it off here and let's see what's going to happen. We go here, make sure it's out of gear, and I don't know if it's going to fire up and dive. I don't know if it's going to go fire up and run really rich or really lean. We'll deal with that. We just want to allow it to fire off and run until it comes up to operating temperature. So let's see what's going to happen. So again, I'm out of gear. Just crank it over here. Okay, cranks and it fires off. We look here at our idle speed. Let's find our idle speed here. It's about 1400. We do command a little bit higher idle speed when we're firing off the engine cold, so that's okay. If I take a look at my wideband reading, it hasn't came online here yet, but I'm looking at my gauge, and this is showing it's in the 14 air fuel. So it's actually reasonable, 13.8, 14, that's about what I'd like to see. We can see it's picking up right here. Now we're gonna find the short-term fuel trim is already kicked in. It's already making adjustments right now to our mixture that we have going on here. This air fuel is completely reasonable. So we probably don't need to touch our warm-up enrichment, and we probably don't even need to touch our cranking fuel because it cranked and it fired. That's actually pretty decent for sitting overnight, considering that the engine is going to be having these large injectors and having larger camshafts. Now if we notice here, the short-term trim is adding some, and the air fuel is in the 12 or 13s right now. It does have a richer target mixture when it's cold, so it's going to be trying to shoot for a little bit richer mixture, and that's why the short-term trim here is trying to allow it to run at that little bit richer mixture. But as we run it here, we'll find that this will start to dissipate and go out to 14.7, which is what we want to shoot for at idle part throttle for normal operation. If we take a look down here at our coolant temp one last time, we'll see that that's going to be counting up here. We see that's about 118 degrees. So we're gonna wait till this gets to about 180 before we start to test some of our driving. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you wanna see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you wanna go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't wanna miss any of the videos we're gonna be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.